She met him when she was 17. He was 40. She fell in love. And for the next 13 years, she was his secret. No public appearances, no photographs together, no acknowledgement that she even existed. She was hidden away like something shameful while he became the most powerful man in Europe. Her name was Eva Braun, and this is her story. It is not a love story. Not really. It is a story about obsession, loneliness, and a woman who gave everything to a man who gave almost nothing back. A woman who could have escaped but chose to die instead. Who was she? Why did she stay? And what does her story tell us about love, loyalty, and the choices we make? Let me tell you. Eva Anna Paula Braun was born on February 6, 1912, in Munich, Germany. Her father was a schoolteacher. Her mother was a seamstress. She had two sisters, one older and one younger. It was a normal Catholic family. Nothing special. Young Eva was pretty and fun. She liked sports, fashion, and movies. She dreamed of becoming an actress. She was not particularly smart or ambitious. She was just a regular girl with regular dreams. When she finished school at 17, she needed a job. Her family was not wealthy. A friend helped her find work at a photography studio owned by Heinrich Hoffmann. This changed everything, because Heinrich Hoffmann was Adolf Hitler's personal photographer. One evening in October 1929, Eva was working late when a middle-aged man came into the studio. He wore a trench coat and had a small mustache. Hoffmann introduced him as Herr Fulf. Eva did not know who he was. She was 17. She did not follow politics. She thought he was old, but had nice eyes. Hitler noticed her too. He came back to the studio again and again. He brought flowers. He invited her to dinner. He was charming and attentive. Eva was flattered. Here was an important man paying attention to a shopgirl from an ordinary family. It was exciting. It felt special. By 1931, they were in a relationship. Eva was 19. Hitler was 42. And right from the beginning, she became a secret. Hitler believed German women loved him because he was single. A bachelor could be every woman's fantasy. A man with a known girlfriend would lose that magic. So Eva had to disappear. She could not appear with him in public. She could not attend his rallies or speeches. She could not be photographed beside him. When important people visited, she had to hide or pretend to be a secretary. For 13 years, this was her life. Loving a man who would not acknowledge her existence. The loneliness was crushing. Hitler was always busy with politics. He traveled constantly. He forgot her birthday. He canceled plans. He disappeared for weeks at a time. Eva waited. She always waited. In August 1932, she could not take it anymore. She shot herself in the chest with her father's pistol. The bullet missed her heart. She survived. Was it a real suicide attempt? Or a cry for attention? Either way, it worked. Hitler got scared. He paid more attention. He gave her gifts and money. But the pattern continued. He would be attentive for a while, then disappear again. Eva would feel abandoned. The cycle repeated. In May 1935, she tried again. This time she took an overdose of sleeping pills. Her sister found her and called a doctor. She survived again. After this second attempt, Hitler made changes. He bought her a house in Munich. He gave her a car and a driver. He put her on his payroll. But he still would not marry her. She was still his secret. In 1936, Eva moved to the Berghof, Hitler's mountain retreat in the Bavarian Alps. This became her home. She was the unofficial hostess, managing the household, greeting guests, arranging dinners. But she was always introduced as a secretary. The secret continued. What was Eva's life like at Berghof? In some ways, it was luxurious. Beautiful mountains, expensive clothes, servants and drivers. She could afford anything she wanted. But she was also trapped. She could not have a public life. She could not have normal friendships. She was a prisoner in a golden cage, waiting for a man who was usually somewhere else. She filled her time with hobbies. She became an excellent photographer. She swam, skied, and exercised. She watched movies, sometimes 2 or 3 a day. She played with her 2 Scottish Terrier dogs, Negus and Stasi. She waited. Always waiting. During the war, Hitler was gone for months at a time, directing military operations. Eva stayed in the mountains, alone, wondering when he would return. She wrote him letters full of love. "I am so worried about you," she wrote. "I pray for your safety every day." We do not know if he wrote back. What did Eva know about the Holocaust, about the concentration camps, about the millions being murdered? This is a difficult question. She lived at the center of Hitler's world. She heard conversations. She saw important people. She could not have been completely ignorant. But she was also deliberately kept separate from politics. Hitler did not discuss government business with her. She had no official role. Most likely, she knew something was happening but chose not to look too closely. She created a bubble around herself. Fashion, photography, dogs. A small world where she did not have to think about the larger horrors. This is not innocence. Choosing not to see is a choice, but it is different from actively participating in evil. Eva Braun was not a war criminal. She was a bystander, and bystanders have their own kind of guilt. As the war turned against Germany, Eva stayed loyal. She could have left. She could have walked away. She did not. In January 1945, with Berlin being bombed daily and Soviet forces approaching, Eva made a decision that shocked everyone. She left the safety of Berghof and traveled to Berlin to be with Hitler. The city was a war zone. Buildings were collapsing. People were dying every day. Everyone who could leave was leaving. Eva went anyway. When she arrived at the underground bunker, Hitler was surprised. He ordered her to leave, to go somewhere safe. She refused. "I have come to stay," she said. It was the bravest decision of her life, and the most fatal. For the next 3 months, Eva lived in the bunker. It was a terrible place. Small concrete rooms, stale air, constant vibrations from bombs falling above, the smell of diesel and fear. But she kept her dignity. She dressed carefully each day. She put on makeup. She tried to keep morale up. She was calm when others panicked. The staff noticed her courage. In the final darkness, Eva Braun became a source of light. On April 28, 1945, 2 days before the end, Hitler asked Eva to marry him. After 13 years as his secret, she would finally be his wife. The wedding was small and rushed. A city official performed the ceremony. There were only a few witnesses. Eva wore a black silk dress. When she signed the marriage certificate, she started to write Braun out of habit. Then she crossed it out and wrote Eva Hitler instead. For the first time ever, she could use his name. A small reception followed. Champagne was served. But nobody was celebrating. Everyone knew what came next. On April 30th, 1945, around 3:30 in the afternoon, Adolf and Eva Hitler retired to their private sitting room. Eva sat on the sofa. She wore a blue dress. Her hair was carefully styled. She looked peaceful. She bit down on a cyanide capsule. The poison worked instantly. Within seconds, she was dead. Hitler sat beside her. He raised a pistol to his head and pulled the trigger. Their bodies were carried to the garden and burned with gasoline. Soviet shells fell nearby as the flames consumed them. Eva Braun was 33 years old. She had been married for approximately 40 hours. What should we think about Eva Braun? She was not evil in the way Hitler was evil. She did not plan genocide. She did not order executions. She did not build death camps. But she loved someone who did all those things. She stayed with him. She supported him. She died beside him. Some people feel sympathy for her. She was young when they met. She was seduced by power. She was trapped in a relationship she could not escape. Others feel contempt. She had chances to leave. She chose to stay. She enjoyed luxury paid for with blood. Both views have truth. Eva Braun was complicated. She made terrible choices. But she was also human. Perhaps the saddest part is how little she mattered to Hitler. She gave him 13 years, her youth, her freedom, her life. In his final testament, he barely mentioned her. A few sentences about burning the bodies. That was all. She gave everything. He gave almost nothing. After her death, Eva's family survived the war. Her sisters lived long lives. They rarely spoke about Eva. The connection to Hitler was a source of shame. Today, Eva Braun is remembered as a footnote. The woman who married Hitler. The girlfriend nobody knew about. But she was also a person. A young woman who wanted love and got loneliness. Who wanted to matter and spent 13 years being invisible. Who wanted a normal life and got death in an underground bunker. She made her choices. She lived with them. She died with them. That is the story of Eva Braun. Not a monster, not a hero. Just a woman who fell in love with the wrong man and followed him to the grave. She was 33 years old. She had wanted to be a movie star. Instead, she became a ghost in history.